Today we're talking about the preparedness or the readiness to be able to move, okay? Being able to have your weight, your balance, your position and posture in a manner that you can offend, defend, counter-offend, evade, or intercept at any given point in time. A lot of times when we watch people move around, okay, they'll have a couple steps and then they'll have this recovery motion, right? They're recovering their balance, they're recovering their structure. We call that dead time, okay? Now this is something that was taught to me by Professor Roy Harris early on in my career. I'm very grateful to learn this because it pays off exponentially, I promise you guys that much. Okay, that dead time is something that we want to reduce. Here's why. When somebody's having that particular, half a second where they're recovering, they're unable, they're completely incapable of being able to offend, defend, counter-offend, evade, or intercept. What does that tell us? It tells us that is an opportune moment to be able to strike, to pressure them. Conversely speaking, if we're the ones that have that same habit, where we're having this awkward motion, doing nothing, then that's a great opportunity for somebody else to strike us and take advantage and really get on the offensive. So we want to reduce that right away. How do you do that? Well, I'm going to be showing you guys some drills today in a really basic platform. I want you guys to spend the time and do this over and over and over again. Do it as a warm-up. It's a great way to do it. I'll show you a couple different variations and we'll start chipping away at that particular movement. Let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is start developing something that we call the hard rear foot. The hard rear foot is referring to us being in our guard position, on ready position, and the back foot is securely planting the floor. Okay? It's almost like you're trying to push the ball of your foot into the ground and your heel is up nice and high. We really want to plant that thing extremely well because all of our distancing, speed, power, reflex timing is all based off of the rear foot. We need that rear foot to be able to lean back, to jump forward, to move to the side. All those things happen from the rear foot. That means that if you don't plant that rear foot, if you're floating it, you're never going to have good base, not good posture, and you're just not going to be ready to fight, okay? So when you pressure somebody, if they don't have a hard rear foot, they're pretty much going to topple over and end up on the floor. If you're the one that doesn't have the hard rear foot and somebody pressures you, you're going to end up on the floor. So let's start developing this right away. We start off in our original base position, our on-guard position, right? So we have 50-50, our knees are bent, our butt is kind of seated over our heels, back foot is raised, or back heel is raised, I should say, elbows are in, hands are up, chin's down, and we're ready to move, okay? All you want to do is have 2, 3, 4 steps, and at the end of it, I want you to stomp that rear foot, okay? So that looks like this. So we kind of move, stop that rear foot. We move around, stomp that rear foot. We move around, stomp that rear foot, okay? Really simple. But that stomping that rear foot is reminding us, it's programming our bodies to constantly keep that back heel up and constantly be digging through the floor using our back foot. That's variation number 1. Give it a try for about 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. It'll start taxing you, I promise you that much. Give it a go. Okay, phase number 2 of this same drill. Once you guys get that first phase down, you're moving around, you're stomping that rear foot, and you understand how your base is and your structure is, you're removing that sway, that constant chasing of balance. Next thing I want you to do is start looking down a little bit at your hands, okay? So you're gonna do the same drill when you move around, stomp, and you're gonna look down at your hands at the same time to make sure that they're in position, that they're not doing something weird. So we're making a conscious effort to not do different stuff with our hands, okay? It's not a chop socky flick, it's a fight. And fights are very dynamic. You have to be able to ready to offend, defend, counter-offend, evade, intercept, grab something, hit somebody with the rock, any of those things at any given point in time. These types of things are a sportive type of a deal. We're taunting people, we're relaxing because you have 5 rounds or 8 rounds or 10 rounds or 12 rounds of a fight. But that's not true to self-defense, okay? So here we go. Same type of a thing. We're gonna move around, stomp, and make sure our hands aren't moving. Move around, stomp, our hands aren't moving. Move around, stomp, and our hands aren't moving. Okay, so you're gonna do that for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 2 or 3 successions over here, so that way you can start working the hands too. Notice We really want to break this apart into 2 phases. First phase, we start paying attention to the foot because it requires its own individual focus. Second phase is focusing on the hands because it requires individual focus without having to do things collectively, right? In our third round, you could do both, right? You could kind of move around, make sure that the hands and feet are the same exact way that they were in phase 1 or phase 2, depending on the focus, okay? So you can do the same thing. Work that, and I'm gonna give you guys one more variation. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Okay, so now it's time to challenge those attributes that you guys have learned. First thing that we learned was hard rear foot, keeping that back heel up, planting that sucker to the floor, right? Second one was not letting our hands do weird stuff. Third one was kind of combining the 2 and being able to split the focus and making sure that we're doing things correctly collectively. Fourth one is to challenge that, okay? When I say challenge that, moving around like this is simple, especially if that's all you're doing. Let's push that limitation. And the way we do that is really simple. Grab a kettlebell, a dumbbell, a bowling ball, something with some weight, anywhere from, I don't know, 15 to 30, 35 pounds. You don't need something that's like gonna smoke your arm out, but you need something that you're gonna be able to one-hand control, okay? All right, we're gonna put this in the rack position so it's up close to us, right next to our chin, basically the same place we would be if we were in a fight. This goes in the front hand, okay, not in the rear hand. We put this in the front hand and we're gonna do the same drill, moving around, stomping the foot, checking our hands, okay? So we move around a little bit, stomp the foot, check the hands. Move around, stomp the foot, check the hands. Move around, stomp the foot, check the hands, all right? And the way you do that is real nice, real slow, and keep this in nice and tight. If you put this out here this way, you're gonna start hurting your shoulder, hurting your elbow, hurting your wrist. We don't wanna have any of those things, right? We wanna be able to control this. Don't go crazy on the weight. Don't go super light on the weight. Anywhere from 15 to 30 pounds, depending on each particular individual, is usually good. Control that, move around, stop, stomp the foot, check the hands, okay? So that's today's drill, guys. Start doing that. You're gonna start minimizing all of those weird, unnecessary motions, that dead time. Take that out of your game. It's gonna help you, if you are gonna move around combatively, whether sparring or an actual fight, that you're always ready to move forward. Don't move backwards, move to the side, circle around. Really important to be prepared to move and not waste time having this weird chasing of balance. Have fun with that. I'll see you guys tomorrow.